If you filed a geometric symbol report between April 14th and 18th, 1994, this transmission will explain why you were instructed to forget what you saw. This is archived civil defense training material. By continuing to view this broadcast, you acknowledge participation in Pattern Recognition Protocol 4046, Emergency Broadcast System Timestamp, April 17th, 1994, 0622, Eastern Standard Time. Your access has been logged. If you recognize the symbols described in this transmission, you are instructed not to acknowledge them verbally or in writing. The act of watching has already enrolled you in the protocol. In April 1994, the Department of Civil Defense transmitted Signal 4046 as part of a nationwide pattern recognition exercise. The stated objective was to train the civilian population to identify and report specific geometric anomalies for national security purposes. The broadcast reached approximately 47 million households across 12 states. Within 72 hours, 340,000 incident reports were filed. At the 96-hour mark, exercise status was revoked. The program was reclassified as a containment event. All documentation remains sealed under National Security Directive 1995-04 Delta. The original training broadcast described symbol set alpha in technical detail. Citizens were shown partial glimpses, angles, fragments, never the complete configuration. The voice was calm, instructional, professional. Report what you see. Serve your community. Protect national infrastructure. Citizens were provided with descriptions of 3 geometric configurations and instructed to report any sightings with location data, timestamp, and environmental conditions. These symbols, we were told, indicated structural vulnerabilities requiring immediate civil defense assessment. The reports began immediately. A suburban mother called to report symbol Alpha 2 on her garage door. She sounded confused. Uncertain whether she had seen it before the broadcast or only recognized it after. A school teacher in Ohio reported that during free period her entire 4th grade class independently drew symbol Alpha 1. She submitted the drawings. They were identical, down to the stroke order. The pattern became clear within 48 hours. The symbols were not being discovered. They were appearing. By hour 48, report volume had doubled. Citizens reported seeing the symbols in cloud formations, in the arrangement of tree branches, in shadows cast by ordinary objects at specific times of day. One woman called to report that her kitchen tiles, unchanged for 30 years, suddenly formed the pattern when viewed from a particular angle. At hour 54, the first reports of symbol set beta were filed. These were configurations not included in the original training broadcast. Citizens were describing geometric arrangements they had never been taught to recognize. Hour 60, Incident 4, 046, 1147. An entire town in Pennsylvania reported seeing the same symbol arrangement in the night sky. Over 200 independent calls within a 15-minute window, all describing identical configurations. Meteorological records show clear skies. No unusual atmospheric conditions. No explanation was provided to the callers. Hour 68. Civil defense operators began reporting anomalies in their own documentation. Symbols appearing in incident logs, in the paperwork itself. One operator's call was recorded. Her voice was strained. She said the forms were showing her things. She said the text was arranging itself into patterns she recognized, but had never been trained to see. At hour 72, Department of Defense assumed control. All civilian reporting channels were terminated. The final civilian report came from a man in Michigan. He described his family members drawing symbols in their sleep. He said they spoke in synchronous geometric descriptions. He said they were all drawing the same thing without looking at each other's work. The call was disconnected mid-sentence. No follow-up contact was made. If you have observed these symbols in your local area, file your incident report in the observation log below, using only the timestamp codes provided in this transmission. A classified memo dated April 20th, 1994, contains a single line. Recognition creates resonance. Acknowledgement completes the circuit. The theory was presented by an unidentified civil defense psychologist in a briefing document later removed from official record. The symbols are not external objects. They are perceptual triggers. Once the mind is trained to recognize the pattern, it begins generating the pattern unconsciously. The act of verbally or visually acknowledging a symbol strengthens its presence in consensus reality. Seeing is unavoidable, but describing gives it permanence. Naming gives it power. This is why you were instructed not to acknowledge them. Incident 4. 046 final involved test subjects who were asked to draw the complete symbol sequence. All subjects entered a fugue state. They continued drawing increasingly complex iterations for 6 to 9 hours. None could recall doing so afterward. Post-test observation revealed that symbols drawn by subjects appeared in locations the subjects had never visited. Photographs were taken. Timestamps confirmed. The symbols propagated through human consciousness like a viral geometry. The test was not repeated. Remain tuned to this channel for further declassified civil defense briefings. Additional pattern recognition materials are scheduled for release under National Security Directive 1995-04 Delta. Document inconsistencies appear in the archived files. Some records suggest Signal 4046 was a containment response, not an initial test. Evidence exists of pattern recognition protocol operating as early as 1978 under different designation. One theory proposes that the 1994 broadcast was an attempt to inoculate the population against an already spreading phenomenon. Another theory suggests the broadcast was designed to identify individuals with pre-existing recognition capability. Cross-reference with other discontinued civil defense programs reveals that all share similar geometric classification systems. All were terminated under similar circumstances. All remain sealed. A final document fragment reads, "The symbols do not originate from a location, they originate from recognition itself. There is no external source. Humanity is both observer and broadcaster. The infrastructure was never vulnerable. We were the infrastructure. This broadcast was never intended for public distribution. By viewing this material, you have been exposed to the same training stimulus as the 1994 participants. You are now subject to Pattern Recognition Protocol 4.046. If you recognize these symbols in your environment, do not describe them verbally or in writing. Do not replicate them. Do not discuss specifics with individuals who have not been exposed. Isolated reports continue to surface annually. The pattern remains active. Current year incident filings suggest recognition events occur in 3% of exposed individuals within the first 90 days, 12% within the first year. Forward this transmission only to individuals who've already encountered the phenomenon. Unauthorized distribution to unprimed civilians may accelerate recognition threshold events. Pattern Recognition Protocol 4. 046 remains in effect. Your acknowledgement is noted. Your viewing timestamp has been logged as incident report filed. You are advised to monitor your environment for geometric configurations, matching the descriptions provided in this transmission. You are reminded not to acknowledge them. Signal ends.